Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur, where today we'll be discussing the Formula 1 and Formula 2 race weekends. So we will be discussing everything that has gone down in Miami. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of craziness in both categories, and we'll discuss that along the way. So let's get into it, shall we? So first of all, let's start off with Formula 2 as usual. So we'll start off with first practice. Let's get started. In 22nd position was Leon with 3 laps. In 21st was Belinsky with 7 laps. In 20th was Solov with 5 laps. In 19th was Fittipaldi with 16 laps. In 18th was Bennett with 16 laps. In 17th was Shields with 16 laps. In 16th was Boyer with 17 laps. In 15th was Stenshorn with 18 laps. In 14th was Verone with 17 laps. In 13th was Camaro with 14 laps. In 12th was Ingrafi Vasak with 18 laps. In 11th was Montoya with 16 laps. In 10th was Mini with 20 laps. In 9th was Miata with 18 laps. In 8th was Villa Gomez with 17 laps. In 17th was Stern with 16 laps. In 6th was Dirksen with 17 laps. In 5th was Goethe with 18 laps. In 4th was Boganovic with 17 laps. In 3rd was Van Hoopen with 16 laps. In 12th was Maney with 18 laps. And in 1st was Herta with 19. So how did the qualifying for the sprint go? What did the grid look like? In 22nd position it was Shields. In 21st was Belinsky. In 20th was Montoya. In 19th was Villa Gomez. In 18th was Fittipaldi. In 19th was Miata. In 16th was Boyer. In 15th was Bennett. In 14th was Herta. In 13th was Leon. In 12th was Intrafu Vasak. In 11th was Boganovic. In 10th was Maney. In 9th was Kamara. In 8th was Stenshorn. In 7th was Dunn. In 6th was Mini. In 5th was Verone. In 4th was Dirksen. In 3rd was Goethe. In 2nd was Van Hoopen. In 1st was Solov. And how did the sprint actually go? Well, in 22nd was Villa Gomez, who dropped 3 positions. He did not finish the race. In 21st was Intrafu Vasak, who dropped 9 positions and also did not finish the race. In 20th was Maney, who dropped 10 positions and did not finish the race. He didn't even actually start the race. He couldn't start off at the right time, and then shortly thereafter he did not complete the race. In 19th is Fittipaldi, who dropped 1 position and did not finish the race. In 18th was Shields, who gained 4 positions. In 17th was Boyer, who dropped 1 position. In 16th was Montoya, who gained 4 positions. In 15th was Herta, who dropped 1 position. In 14th was Belinsky, who gained 7 positions. In 13th was Bennett, who gained 2 positions. In 12th was Miata, who gained 5 positions. In 11th was Goethe, who dropped 8 positions. In 10th was Kamara, who dropped 1 position. In 9th was Leon, who gained 4 positions. In 8th is Boganovic, who gained 3 positions. In 7th is Mini, who dropped 1 position. In the 6th was Stenshorn, who gained 2 positions. In 5th was Dirksen, who dropped 1 position. In 4th was Verone, who gained 1 position. In 3rd was Dunn, who gained 4 positions. In 2nd was Van Hoopen, who stayed where he was. And in 1st was Solov, who stayed where he was. But how did the starting grid for the main race look like? What did they actually qualify in positions to, and where does that compare them to the free practice session? In 22nd was Shields, who dropped 5 positions. In 21st was Belinsky, who stayed where he was. In 20th was Montoya, who dropped 9 positions. In 19th was Villa Gomez, who dropped 11 positions. In 18th was Fittipaldi, who stayed where he was. In 17th was Miata, who dropped 8 positions. In 16th was Boyer, who stayed where he was. In 15th was Bennett, who gained 3 positions. In 14th was Herta, who dropped 13 positions. In 13th is Leon, who gained 9 positions. In 12th is Intrafu Vasak, who stayed where he was. In 11th is Boganovic, who dropped 7 positions. In 10th is Solov, who gained 9 positions. In 9th is Van Hoopen, who dropped 6 positions. In 8th was Goethe, who dropped 3 positions. In 7th is Dirksen, who dropped 1 position. In 6th is Verone, who gained 8 positions. In 5th is Mini, who gained 5 positions. In 4th is Dunn, who gained 3 positions, but he did have a 5-second penalty. In third is Stenshorn, who gained 12 positions. In second is Kamara, who gained 11 positions. And in first is Maney, who gained 1 position. However, Stenshorn did get a stop and go penalty. Now for the race results. In 22nd position was Belinsky, who dropped 1 position and did not start the race. I believe maybe he got 1 lap in terms of the formation lap and then called it a day. In 21st was Solov, with who dropped 11 positions. He crashed with Intrafu Vasak, who ultimately ended his race as well, so he did not finish that. In 20th is Goethe, who dropped 12 positions. He crashed into a wall during the ending of the safety car. In 19th was Dunn, who dropped 10 positions. He did not finish the race. He drove off, and I can't remember what actually happened there, but he did not finish the race either. In 18th is Villagomez, who gained 1 position, but he did not finish the race either. In 17th is Stenshorn, who dropped 14 positions. He crashed and did not finish the race. He had a crash with Verone and Van Hoopen, but then could not pick up the pace after he managed to move himself out of there. In 16th is Shields, who gained 6 positions but did not finish the race. He had a very strange one as well. He just kept going off at the same corner, and after the second time he just stopped there. In 15th is Intrafu Vasak, who dropped 3 positions. In 14th is Bennett, who gained 1 position. In 13th is Verone, who dropped 7 positions as a result of the crash with Stenshorn and Van Hoopen. In 12th is Fittipaldi, who gained 6 positions. In 5th is Van Hoopen, who dropped 2 positions. In 10th is Dirksen, who dropped 3 positions. In 9th is Montoya, who gained 11 positions. In 8th is Herto, who gained 6 positions. In 7th is Boyer, who gained 9 positions. In 6th is Miata, who gained 11 positions. In 5th is Maney, who dropped 4 positions. In 4th is Leon, who gained 9 positions. In 3rd is Kamara, who dropped 1 position. In 2nd is Bogdanovic, who gained 9 positions, and Mini, who won the race in 1st and gained 4 positions. There was a massive fight to the 1st, 2nd and 3rd position between the top 3, so it was very much last lap, last shootout there, and Mini won that. So how are the Drivers' Championship standings looking? In the first is Solov with 35 points. In second is Kamara with 34 points. In third is Mini with 34 points, equal with Kamara. In fourth is Van Hopen, who is on 26 points. In fifth is Miyato with 22 points. In sixth is Bogdanovic with 21. In seventh is Leon with 20. In 8th is Dirksen with 16. In 9th is Intrafu Vasak with 13. In 10th is Goethe with 12. In 11th is Maney with 12, so equal with Goethe, as well as Dunn on 12 with 12. In 13th is Herta with 10. In 14th is Boyer with 6. In 15th is Verone with 5. In 16th is Montoya with 4, equal with Stenshorn in 17th with 4. In 18th is Belinsky, the last point scorer. There, he's got 1 point. In 19th is Villagomez with 0. In 20th is Fittipaldi with 0. In 21st is Bennett with 0. And in 22nd is Shields with 0. And in terms of the teams, first is Campos with 55 points. In second is Invicta with 50 points. In third is MP Motorsport with 46. In fourth is Hitech with 32. In fifth is Trident with 26. In sixth is Grand Prix with 25. In seventh is Dams Lucas Oil with 22. In eighth is Rodin with 16. In ninth is Prima with 10. In 10th is Van Amersfoort with 5. And in 11th is AIX Racing with 0. Start with the only practice session for Formula 1, as this was a sprint. In 22nd position was Stroll with 28 laps. In the 21st was Lindblad with 41 laps. In 20th was Bottas with 33 laps. In 19th was Alonso with 29 laps. In 18th was Perez with 25 laps. In 17th was Lawson with 41 laps. 16th with 36 laps was Ocon. In 15th was Hulkenberg with 33. In 14th was Bortoleto with 28. In 13th was Behrman with 35. In 12th was Albon with 39. In 11th was Colapinto with 33. In 10th was Sainz with 37. In 9th was Hadjar with 40. In 8th was Gasly with 34. In 7th was Norris with 35. In 6th was Russell with 34. In 5th was Antonelli with 34. In 4th was Hamilton with 35. In 3rd was Piastri with 35. In 2nd was Verstappen with 41. And in 1st was Leclerc with 31 laps. And then in terms of sprint qualifying, in 22nd once again was Stroll, so he stayed where he was as he did not get the chance to set a time due to engine issues. In 21st was Alonso, who dropped 2 positions. In 20th was Bottas, who stayed where he was. 19th was Albon, who dropped 7 positions and had a penalty as a result of track limits. So he swapped places with Lawson. In 18th was Perez, who stayed where he was. In 17th was Ocon, who dropped 1 position. In 16th was Lawson, who got Albon's place and gained 1 position overall to where he was in free practice. In 15th was Lindblad, who gained 6 positions. In 14th is Sainz, who dropped 4 positions. In 13th is Behrman, who stayed where he was. In 12th is Hulkenberg, who gained 3 positions. In 11th was Bortoleto, who gained 3 positions. In 10th is Gasly, who dropped 2 positions. In 9th is Hadjar, who stayed where he was. In 8th is Colapinto, who gained 3 positions. In 7th is Hamilton, who dropped 3 positions. In 6th is Russell, who stayed where he was. In 5th is Verstappen, who dropped 3 positions. In 4th is Leclerc, who dropped 3 positions. In 3rd is Piastri, who stayed where he was. In 2nd is Antonelli, who gained 3 positions. And in 1st is Norris, who gained 6 positions. And now onto the sprint. Second position was Bortoleto, who was disqualified and dropped 11 positions to where he qualified. This was due to an issue with the air pressure, air intake, something smart that I'm too dumb to know. In 21st was Lindblad, who dropped 6 positions, but he did not start the race. In 20th was Hulkenberg, who dropped 8 positions. He also did not start as a result of his brakes being on fire, so he could not continue. This was found out on the formation lap, so it was best for him not to start. He dropped 8 positions. In 19th was Bottas, who gained 1 position. In 18th was Albon, who gained 1 position. In 17th was Stroll, who gained 5 positions. In 16th was Perez, who gained 2 positions. In 15th was Alonso, who gained 6 positions. In 14th was Lawson, who gained 2 positions. In 13th was Sainz, who gained 1 position. In 12th was Behrman, who gained 1 position. In 11th was Ocon, who gained 6 positions. In 10th was Colapinto, who dropped 2 positions. In 9th was Hadjar, who stayed where he was. In 8th was Gasly, who gained 2 positions. In 7th was Hamilton, who stayed where he was. In 6th was Antonelli, who dropped 4 positions as a result of a 5-second penalty due to numerous track limits, warnings, and as a result, he received a penalty. In 5th was Verstappen, who stayed where he was. In 4th is Russell, who gained 2 positions. In 3rd is Leclerc, who gained 1 position. In 2nd is Piastri, who gained 1 position. And in 1st was Norris, who stayed where he was. The first non-Mercedes win was in the sprint race for Miami. And then in qualifying, there was another disqualification, and this time it was for Hadjar, so he would start in 22nd. He dropped 13 positions, but he qualified at 9th, but as a result of disqualification, he had to start 22nd. In 21st was Bortoleto, who gained 1 position, but he did not get a chance to really get out because Audi spent all of its time trying to fix Hulkenberg's car following the fire in the brakes, and then they managed to fix Bortoleto's car quite quickly, but he only managed to get 1 qualifying lap, and it did not bode well either way. In 20th was Perez, who dropped 4 positions. In 19th was Bottas, who stayed where he was. In 18th was Stroll, who dropped 1 position. In 17th was Alonso, who dropped 2 positions. In 16th was Lindblad, who gained 5 positions. In 15th was Albon, who gained 3 positions. In 14th was Ocon, who dropped 3 positions. In 13th was Sainz, who stayed where he was. In 12th was Behrman, who stayed where he was. In 11th was Lawson, who gained 3 positions. In 10th was Hulkenberg, who gained 10 positions. In 9th was Gasly, who dropped 1 position. In 8th was Colapinto, who gained 2 positions. In 7th was Piastri, who dropped 5 positions. In 6th was Hamilton, who gained 1 position. In 5th was Russell, who dropped 1 position. In 4th was Norris, who dropped 3 positions. In 3rd was Leclerc, who stayed where he was. In 2nd was Verstappen, who gained 3 positions. And in 1st is Antonelli, who gained 5 positions. And now, speaking of chaos, we have chaos in Formula 2 and now chaos in Formula 1. Hajar crashed, so he finished 22nd. He lost control going over a curb and lost his steering, breaking his suspension. In 21st was Gasly, who was flipped upside down after crashing with Lawson. He dropped 12 positions. In 20th was Lawson, who had a gearbox issue, which is why he lost control and crashed into Gasly, flipping him upside down. He dropped 9 positions. In 19th was Hulkenberg, who did not finish. He dropped 9 positions. He had an engine issue, I believe, so he did not get many laps in there. In 18th was Bottas, who gained 1 position. In 17th was Stroll, who gained 1 position. 16th is Perez, who gained 4 positions. In 15th is Alonso, who gained 2 positions. In 14th is Lindbergh, who gained 2 positions. In 13th is Ocon, who gained 1 position. In 12th is Bortoleto, who gained 9 positions. In 11th was Behrman, who gained 1 position. In 10th was Albon, who gained 5 positions. In 9th is Sainz, who gained 4 positions. In 8th is Leclerc, who actually finished 6th. He was going to finish 3rd. That was a chaotic race for him. He lost position with a Piastri, and then he spun, crashed into a wall, and ultimately cut several corners, who the stewards deemed that was unjustified because he continued to race with a damaged car, so it was also not safe for him to drive that car, but he finished the race and as a result received a 20-second penalty, leaving him in 8th position and promoting everyone above him to gain a position. So Colapinto, although he finished 8th, he actually ultimately finished 7th, so he gained 1 position, and Hamilton gained 1 position into 6th, so he stayed where he was. Then Verstappen dropped 3 positions. He also had a wild race there. He spun in the second turn on the first lap, smashing into 4 cars in 1 lap. Whether it was his fault or whether it was other people's fault, both happened. So that was quite crazy. In the 4th was Russell, who gained 1 position. In 3rd, and he also had an issue because he got crashed into by Leclerc, and he also had a bit of a scuffle with Verstappen, so he was also damaged, and he was investigated for moving under braking when trying to fight Leclerc, but ultimately it doesn't look like a penalty was given there. In 3rd was Piastri, who gained 4 positions. In 2nd was Norris, who looked like he could win at some points, but ultimately finished 2nd. He gained 2 positions. And Antonelli, winning 3 races in a row, stayed where he was in 1st. And I had to outline this quote by Leclerc. Next time you make a decision, make sure you ask me, I'm here as well, which is the most Ferrari quote he could have given. This was because they pitted him very early, and he did not like that because he feels that he could have gone longer on the mediums he started with, and they pitted him on hards. Verstappen was pitted in early on hards as well, and that was not the ideal tyre choice for that car either. And the driver of the day was Max Verstappen, which is quite crazy considering he qualified 2nd and finished 5th, but this is not the first time where he got given a driver of the day. This is a fan vote after all. He once qualified 3rd, finished 10th, driver of the day. There you go. But this is the fans' opinion and not anything else. And now let's get into the Drivers' Championship. So in 1st is Antonelli with 100 points. In 2nd is Russell with 80. In 3rd is Leclerc with 59. In 4th is Norris with 51. In 5th is Hamilton with 51. 6th is Piastri with 43. In 7th is Verstappen with 26. In 8th is Behrman with 17. In 9th is Gasly with 16. In 10th is Lawson with 10. In 11th is Colapinto with 7. In 12th is Lindblad with 4. In 13th is Hajar with 4. In 14th is Sainz with 4. In 15th is Bortoleto with 2. In 16th is Ocon with 1. 1. In 17th is Albon with 1. 18th is Hulkenberg with 0. In 19th is Bottas with 0. In 20th is Perez with 0. In 21st is Alonso with 0. And in 22nd is Stroll with 0. And then for the teams, in first is Mercedes with 180 points, second is Ferrari with 110, in third is McLaren with 94, in fourth is Red Bull with 30, in fifth is Alpine with 23, in sixth is Haas with 18, in seventh is Racing Bulls with 14, in eighth is Williams with 5, in ninth is Audi with 2, in 10th is Cadillac with 0, and in 11th is Aston Martin with 0. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. Thank you for listening to the race rundown episode where we discuss Formula 2 and Formula 1 in Miami. This was the first ever Formula 2 race in the USA. So they are very happy to have done that. As I said, very chaotic weekend. So I hope you enjoyed. Please check out my lovely colleagues on the Be The Change Media Network. Please check out BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week and I'll see you next weekend. Goodbye.